Hello. Damn it. Not again. Why does it do that? Oh.
I'm so sorry.
This is a perfect start.
I'm still learning this thing. No, it's the preset default is like set and I keep forgetting to save it.
Once again, her natural voice has been outed.
No.
The Go XLR is so easy to use.
It's just, it's too easy to use. It's got some cool things. Anyway, sorry about that.
That's warning. Twitch.
We're professional streamers, guys.
Hashtag professional.
So, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream scene. I am here with a lovely panel of people. We are going to be answering your streaming questions. So if you guys have anything that you want to ask about streaming, feel free to throw it in the chat. I'll start gathering them, and we will answer as many questions as we can get to in the next hour-ish. So it is good to have you guys here. I am joined by my lovely co-host, Hunter, who has not stopped laughing.
Get my game face on. Hi, good morning. This is my favorite style of show that we do. I wish I'd pre-recorded something and put that on my Go XLR for this moment. I love the open format to the questions, having guests on and just going with the free flow stuff, not having like a dedicated specific subject, because some of the topics that come out that pop up, that show up, the questions that you guys ask that we get to field, it can be like so robust, but also like switch gears and like pivot so quickly because there's so much to talk about. One of the things that happens all the time when we end a show is we go like, oh, can't we just have like 8 more hours? Because there's just like so much stuff. So we get to do some of that today with 2 amazing, beautiful, brilliant guests, Vana and TheOnlyRyann with 2 N's. Hi, how are you doing today?
What's up?
Hello.
How you doing, dude?
Good morning, afternoon. I'm still super lost. I've done 10 days of 12-hour streams.
What Hunter was trying to say is, tell us a little bit about yourself, Ryan. Who are you? What do you do? What are you up to?
Oh, this is perfect. I love the filter. So I do actually have 2 N's in my name. I am convinced that my mom started when I was born, so that's why I cheekily went with the Only Ryan when I was deciding what to do here on Twitch. Let's see here. Like, started out while I was still a game developer over at Telltale Games. Started doing this whole thing with the idea of streaming for charity in mind, and it kind of went from there. So we do a lot of gaming, various other kind of things, and a lot of creative streams, but we also have a place on charity where we can when we can. And I'm full-time doing this now. No longer game dev, at least not right now. So just enjoying the time and the space and being able to be on here.
Heck yeah. What about you, Vanna?
Well, I have been streaming in October. It'll be 5 years. I've been streaming on the platform, but I was part-time for about 4.5 of those years.
October?
Huh?
That's the same month that I started.
Really?
5 years ago.
Oh my God.
Buddies.
What if we were sitting there at the same time and we both saw my cousin Evan streaming on Twitch for the first time, and
You
we
can't
both
be serious.
we both went, Evan sucks.
That is my origin story.
Than him, and I'm way better at video games. I'll try this. Is that
what a
really?
strange twins separated at the point of first stream.
But yes, I've been doing it 5 years in October, twinsies, I suppose, with Hunter. But I was doing it super casually and part-time for 4.5 years. I wouldn't even consider it part-time because I was like literally streaming because I was lonely. And I just wanted to hang out with other people. And Twitch seemed like, when I discovered Twitch, it was like the perfect thing because it was like, I know anyone who comes to my channel, we're immediately going to have something in common and something to fawn over, because the video games. And I've always loved video games. My parents owned a video game store while I was growing up, so it's very much been integrated into my life.
That's cool.
And then now I've been doing it full time for my first full year was 2018. So I think we're at a year and a half right now of full time.
That's pretty crazy. The funny thing is, Vanna, a lot of what you said resonated with me. The reason why I got on here was also being an extrovert, working in the game industry. I work with a ton of introverts, and like, let's go do something together. And like,
You were very extroverted. You were supremely extroverted.
and they're like, I'm just gonna go home and drink some wine and be by myself. I'm like, okay. And so it was like, yeah, I that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get on Twitch, was because it's like, okay, I want like friends to hang out with and that kind of stuff. So that's really cool. That's
Yeah.
I
really
do feel like you identified me right there in that example too. I'm gonna go home by myself and drink some wine. I'm
Well-
fine.
Well, what's weird is I used to do that on Twitch. I'm gonna go home by myself and drink wine with my internet friends.
Yes, absolutely.
So, best of both worlds. Best of both
Absolutely.
worlds.
So yeah, no, that's pretty cool. And the funny thing is, same thing. It was part-time a lot of times, and I'm just now getting around the year and a half of being full-time as well. So that's pretty crazy. How timing works out like
We're
that.
having some synchronicity here. I like this show
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So you've been let's see here. We got a bunch of questions already.
Yes.
We
got it.
Loca's
Yeah.
been stacking them up.
So if you guys have
Yeah.
questions, throw them in chat. We'll add it to our list. I'll try to get all the questions. If you've already asked your question, just give us some time to get through it, because we do have a lot already. So we'll just get right to it. My Hell asks, how does someone start getting into streaming? And to that, how does one get over the fear of being in front of the camera?
I would just like to say that getting into streaming is like the easiest thing in the world. Like that's like the easiest part about streaming is hitting like the going live button, especially now where it's like that Streamlabs mobile app. Like if you want to do IRL stuff, all you need is a smartphone. That is
biggest
it.
roadblock is
and you
yourself.
can do some stream. Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So, but with the bigger issue, I think very much so, is being comfortable in front of the camera if that's
Absolutely.
not something you're used to. I think that's a much bigger hurdle than actually doing it, because I think a lot of people think, oh, I need to drop $1,500 for a setup or something, or I can't justify hitting going live. But it's no, like when I first started, I was on a 2007 MacBook Pro, which we all know broadcast softwares do not work on Apple products. So I had to boot camp the hard drive, and it was just so sketchy and so janky. And
Is this how you and
barely
Megs
worked.
bonded over your starting PC? 'Cause
Yes,
hers
we
was-
definitely have come from a similar background in that way. But it's like, but you know what? I could stream from it.
Yeah.
The biggest purchase I had to make for that was the external Elgato capture card for like my PlayStation. But that's that at the time. I think I got one for like $50 or $60.
Well,
You know.
And so for like some clarity there, like I assume that we're not talking about actually getting in front of the camera proper, because some people are camera shy, but
Right.
without a camera would still be fine. I assume it's the whole performative aspect, right?
Sure.
Where because there are a lot of people who don't use a camera to stream at all and are
Right.
wildly
Stream without a
successful, and it's not a hindrance. It's not a hindrance in any way. You do have to stream in a different fashion, but it's you can definitely do it without a camera. But having the mic, being on, having to be present and performative, tough. That's heck.
Being on is
Being
what
on,
I usually
yeah.
call it.
Yeah.
And I feel like also when you first start out, you don't have people watching you and that kind of stuff. You're kind of, and I actually think that's the perfect time to get used to talking.
Exactly.
Because then you can screw up and be like, okay, cool. No one saw that. That's good. Moving on.
Yeah. I messed up for exactly 0 people.
And I think it's really good. It gives you a chance to kind of get used to, how are you going to respond to alerts? How are you going to be talking about it? Because it's so weird. As casters, we literally have to take what's in here instead of internalizing it and just like, okay, cool. I'm going to move over there. I'll find myself, okay, I'm going to walk over here. Like actually saying that stuff out loud was never a default of mine. I would be like walking around the mall and be like, okay, I got to walk over here. And I'm checking out this shirt. It's too small for me. Awesome.
Oh, and here's the
I'm
third
walking
scoop
over
of cat
here.
litter. Oh, nailed it in the bag. What's up? Okay, next one. Yeah, I'm not narrating each and every aspect of my life in the same way that you do it on stream.
Yeah, so I think it's something that a skill. And then one thing I did learn from Crean Bananas was the ability to play a game and then use your other eye essentially for chat. That was also a skill that took time to get used to.
Yeah. I mean, like, with getting over the fear of being in front of the camera, too, like, that's another thing that it's just going to take practice to get used to.
It's practice.
Like, start without a camera and just start streaming and practice talking. And then, like, tack on the camera when you feel more comfortable.
It's acclimation.
Yeah. Like when I started streaming, I was like super, super shy and timid. And now I don't stop talking. I'm just really loud and I sing all the time. So
it sounds like a lot of us, like you can't shut us up now. It's
yeah. Yeah. So
I'm like walking my dogs, explaining exactly how they're going to the bathroom to nobody. Yes.
Now, out of curiosity, actually, this would be a question for you guys, because this is the one I've always been kind of curious about, talking about the camera. Typically I've noticed people, when they look at the camera, they look at it like either it's just an object and it's like that's the thing that can make them nervous or not, or it's the fact because when they look at the camera they realize all the people watching, they can actually almost see the people watching them, you know what I mean? Like look at the camera and they see all the people. How do you guys respond to the camera? Is it just a thing that it's just there, an object, or when you guys are looking at it, are you actually seeing essentially all the names, all the people are in chat? That's kind of like how you view that camera as.
For me, it's a tool to be used. I see it as an interface.
Right.
I don't think I see either of those things in that same way. I'm like, I'm doing a thing and I want other people to receive it in a certain way. This is a thing that I have to use in a certain way to get that done. And so I even just yesterday, I specifically remember doing this at a particular moment when I was like, now is the time I have to look at the camera to get a certain effect while I'm doing this particular thing.
Gotcha.
Like as that interface kind of thing. So it's a little bit in between the two.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't actually think I look at my camera very much.
Yeah, a lot of people
Probably
don't.
bad, but I think like when I feel like I'm trying to connect with people in chat, I'm much more wanting to just look at their screen names.
right.
Like look at the thing they said to me and respond directly to it is more of my thing, or I'm staring at the game. But I very rarely am like, hello, hi there, it's you. I don't know if that's the worst, but
I'm the same way. Like the only time I look at camera is when I'm like yelling at someone. When I'm yelling at chat,
Right.
I'm like, listen here, buddy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like I'm just looking at chat. But I feel like when I started streaming, I was super aware of the fact that I was in a room just talking to myself, right? You just hear yourself and you're just like, this is weird, it's awkward. And then now I don't even think about, like I stare at chat and just read your guys' comments.
I think that's most people. Now I'm remembering looking at a bunch of my friends, watching them stream, right? And in these rare moments, it's the most notable for me is Alaskan Savage. He never looks at his damn camera. Those rare moments when I'm watching him, like if I'm having a little bit of extra time when he's streaming, watch him for a week. Once in that week, he'll look at the camera and I'm like, like it's an arresting gaze, Because he never does it,
Right.
I suddenly feel, and I noticed it when Loka was looking at the camera right there. She never looks at the camera. So when she did, I was like, oh man, that's like is she seeing me? It feels really different.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you guys are now making me think about that, because I guess I do look at the camera a lot.
So
I do look at the
self-aware.
camera a lot.
Oh yeah,
I
guess
do all the time.
I do the like Jim Halpert office stare sometimes.
Our next question comes from Squeakers, who says, how do you get over the hump when you have no viewers and you're talking to yourself?
First thing is, I think you got to actually be talking to yourself. Because a lot of people, when they say they're talking to themselves, they mean like, when I speak, nobody's hearing it, but I'm not really speaking that often. That was completely unhelpful, but that was the first thing that came to mind.
It's a good start.
I think
Well,
it's
that's
just
what we were talking
not,
about earlier.
just not losing the energy. It can be it can be disheartening when you're continually playing for 0 people, but it's just one of those things where it's like you gotta have faith at some point somebody's gonna come in and want to hang out and want to stick around, and when that person comes in there, you're gonna want to be on, you're gonna want to be talking, you're gonna be welcoming, you're gonna want your energy to be good. So I guess my biggest advice for that is just to stay positive.
Well, so how do you do it,
optimistic.
Vana? What's your underlying motivation, like at least in those earlier times?
Yeah, I don't know how I did it. So many people came in and just said mean things to me. I don't know. I remember the first comment ever in my chat was when I was streaming on my like crappy MacBook 2007 boot camp situation. and I was just using the Mac camera, the built-in face cam, and I was playing Sly Cooper, and somebody came in, and the first thing anyone ever said to my chat was, "You look sick."
I love when people say that.
And then they left.
Wow.
And then I think
Real
the
charmer.
second thing ever said in my chat was, "You look like Aubrey Plaza's ugly cousin."
Good
So
Lord,
yeah, I don't
okay.
know how I did it. I guess I hated myself more than those people hated me.
Oh, so it was a competition and you were winning.
I
Okay.
can beat that hate. Wow.
But yeah, I don't know. I think for me it was because when I wasn't streaming, I was sitting on my couch playing video games, talking to myself anyway. That's what was fun for me. And that's what I wanted to do. And I was like, if I'm going to be doing it, I might as well be streaming. So I think I always had a pretty optimistic outlook on it, because I'm like, I've kind of accomplished what I wanted to. I'm still doing the thing I wanted to do on my nights off to relax and hang back. But now I'm in a situation where I have the opportunity to meet new people and sort of build this channel on this platform. So I think it was easy for me to stay in that mindset because I was just doing what I wanted to do.
And I feel like that touches on one that I regularly come back to myself. I'm obsessed with mission and vision. I use the terminology all the time, but like the real underlying core issues there is like, what is it that you really want to achieve? I mean, of course, we want to commune with people. You shouldn't really be streaming if you don't want to talk to anybody at all ever. That would be a bad idea. But in some respect, that's also a reward for the effort that you're putting in, for the things that you're actually trying to do. So some of the underlying motivation that could be helpful, I think, is that same kind of mentality and approach, which is, am I achieving the other stuff that I want to achieve with streaming? In order to maybe next month get the reward of having people come in and converse with me. And that's the reward that I will cherish and love and be able to work with that and start to adapt my stream to having people in there. But what are the inputs? What are the things that I can tackle and actually like conquer and control to create the goal, to meet the goals that I want to have?
It's about managing your expectations. Like if you hit that going live button, you're like, I'm gonna be famous tomorrow. You're gonna have a bad time. But if you hit the going live button and be like, I have an opportunity to play video games and maybe meet some cool people. Yes, it's gonna go great. You're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, and I think there's also a mindset where it's like, okay, my stream quality looks decent, I'm talking, I hit the start streaming button, people are going to come in, and that's just not the case. Like, you can't just stream and expect the people to come to you. You got to make choices with your game selection, Twitter, social media, like networking. There are other aspects of streaming that help you grow more so than just like being live 24/7.
Yeah.
Don't laugh.
Let's see. We have a question from Jimbo who asks, what's the best way to find new people and collab with them and cultivate friendships?
Ooh, that's the hardest question of all time. I think I just figured that out this year.
Did you?
It's definitely not going on other streamers' posts and saying, you got a cool channel, check out mine.
Right.
Don't be that person.
Okay, I'm gonna go delete my tweets real quick.
Hide that history.
Oh God, all Instagram posts ever. That is probably one of the hardest things, because it's one of those things that you got to make sure there's a commonality of friendship there. There's some common ground there. It's I knew, like, for example, I knew of Hunter Wild through a mutual friend of ours, Danataj, before we ever got a chance to meet. But I would come check out his streams because Hunter Wild, man, the way he grew his channel, his audience was so professional and so well done. In my opinion, it was something fantastic to watch. But I wasn't going to go ahead and just like message him like, you stream, I stream too, we should do things together.
We can stream good together.
Yeah, it's just no. And so it's one of those kind of things that, like, if there was ever like a chance for us to do something, like maybe if I was going to do some charity thing and I was like, hey, you feel comfortable, you want to branch out, because for the longest time, and correct me if I'm wrong, Hunter, like, you didn't actually want to co-stream with other broadcasters.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
11,000 hours in, I'm still like, streaming with other people feels weird.
Exactly. And so it's just, it all depends on the caster. It depends on the chance. So, you know, we finally actually, Hunter Wild and I finally got a chance to sit down and hang out when it was last year at the St. Jude Summit.
Yeah.
I got a chance to finally, you know, talk and that kind of thing. And then that's where I could broach like, hey, if you're ever down to play a game, awesome, cool. Let's collab on something if you feel comfortable or if you want to. That's the kind of time to like have those conversations, not to just cold DM somebody or comment on their post or come into their chat.
For 3 hours IRL for lunch, and that was fantastic. And those are the kinds of, I think you can build really strong and powerful relationships like we have, slowly in exactly that fashion. You familiarize yourself with the person, you're connected and committed to the community that they're in. You show up with some regularity so that it's all just like some pretty standard social stuff, right? It's like, I have to know who you are. It's me as anybody, right? Like somebody has to know who you are. I have to know who you are. And that's a matter of like having seen you several times and a little bit of your personality, not just like, hi, hey, do you like game? Okay, goodbye, right? It's having something that's a little more invest yourself into other people. And I think you also have to know for yourself what it is that you really want to get out of it and be honest with yourself about that. Like, some relationships, it's entirely fair for it to be self-serving. Some PR people, you know, you can like them as people, but the reason you're reaching out to them initially is to have a professional and business connection. Always treat them as an end in and of themselves and not merely as a means, but you can acknowledge these things all at the same time. And that I think can be true of casters too. Like I get somebody wanting to, you know, like capitalize on the work that I've done to some extent in order to further their career. If that's all it is that you want, you're naughty. But if that's part of it, but you also like me as a person, I'm like, great, wonderful. Yes, we can do something with that. And that's a matter of familiarization, I think, over time.
Well, I think there's two things. One thing is like I've always told everybody is that when you get into this, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, whatever, you treat all content creators like they're your coworkers now. That's, you know, and that changes it rather than thinking like, oh, they're doing a hobby too. No, you treat everyone professionally like a coworker, and it's going to change on how you perform with those interactions and whatnot, and how you treat other people. And I think that's really key. And then the other thing is, as you touched on, is and this is like something that I've tried to do, is a rising tide raises all ships.
Yes.
And so if I'm going to work with somebody, it's the idea that we're gonna it's not just a one-way street. It's all of us moving towards that goal, whatever it is for us on our channels. It's all of us moving towards those goals together.
I think it's also important to like not ask for things off the bat. Like even if you want to work with them, like that should be something that you plan for down the road. Like establish like a genuine relationship first before you ask for anything.
100%.
And like don't only like reach out to people like whenever they're doing something cool and you're like, how'd you do that or something, or like, you know, just be genuine and just like talk to people like they're normal humans, and you won't have to worry about coming across as being like a leech or, you know, fake or something.
That's been a big hang up for me, is like the reason I've only kind of started to be able to do this year is because had so much anxiety about people I genuinely wanted to get to know better and potentially be friends with. I was so worried that since we're in the same industry that they were going to think that I was trying to take advantage of whatever success they had, or I don't know, was just interested in a host or a raid or something like that, you know? So it was just like, I just didn't reach out to anybody. You know, I was just like, no, nobody wants to talk to little old me. And
I think a lot of streamers get like that.
Yeah.
We get worried.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Like, I'm like, I don't want to like say anything to this person. Like,
yeah. There was like, when I moved out to LA, I think there was like 1 or 2 streamers that I DM'd because I didn't know anyone out here when I moved here. And so I won't say who they are or anything, but I DM'd them to be just like, hey, I also stream and I'm moving out here. I don't know if you ever want I grab a coffee. Like I lurk in chat, so it was like I'd spend a lot of time in their communities and I appreciated them as like people and content creators. But like retrospectively, I'm just like, that was so dumb. Like that was so dumb. They had no idea who I was. Like, especially back then, my channel's still small now, but it was like way smaller then. It was just like, I could have been anybody, you know? So, but I was just so lonely and felt so lost that I was just like, I don't know who to reach out to. And then after that, I felt so ashamed that I didn't reach out to anybody for like
Oh man.
No, really?
years. Yeah.
Oh no.
I was so embarrassed because of course I never
Dang.
heard back from them. Yeah.
Well, I think in the end, though, I gotta applaud you because I think that's a good way though to live life. Is like if you got
I
that
agree.
chance and you have an opportunity to talk to somebody, you might as well talk to them. I've always viewed it as like, okay, cool. Like even if I'm nervous about somebody, I'm gonna talk to them real quick, and then at the very least later down tomorrow when I never go, I'm not gonna be like that headspace. Like, damn it, should have talked to him. Why didn't so
Yeah.
stupid?
Yes.
You know, or whatever. Like it's
Stupid.
stupid. I always hate that. So it's like I'd rather
know.
have that go like the next day and go, probably could have worded that better rather than
Right.
gosh dang it. Now they don't like I'll never get a chance to meet him ever again or talk
Yep.
to him
Right.
or whatever. So I
Yeah.
gotta applaud you. No, I feel like at the very least you put that foot forward and you try to talk to him, and that's a good thing. That's a
Put
good
it out there.
I'm
It's
gonna
also difficult at conventions. Like I've
so rough.
literally gone up to broadcasters I admire, want to be friends with, and I say, "Hello, this is me. You are you. I'm so sorry. I'm talking to you. I will leave now." Like legitimately apologize for bothering them. But I did that to Tiger Rider. I think at one of the TwitchCon partner parties, and I was like, "I love your content and so good to meet you. Okay, I'm gonna leave now." And he was like, "Wait, don't you want to like have a conversation?" And I was
Yeah.
like,
He's a good one to talk like that too,
Yeah,
because
no.
he'll
He's a
just
good
interrupt
guy.
you and be like, "What are you doing? No, we're
right,
just
but
talk to me."
now we're friends, so it's like.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was like, my friend Tippy was with me, and she was like, "Just go say hi. Like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "I don't know. I could do that, or I could crap my pants. Either of those.
Wait,
That'll
my
definitely be an opener.
options.
How you doing?
Either of those. I could do
Honestly,
either,
like
but-
IRL conventions and stuff, like meeting people in person is huge for like actually making genuine friendships. Like actually
Yes.
being
Yeah.
able to like see them in person, shake their hand, just like have a conversation. It's so hard on social media, especially Twitter. It's like you can say like 4 words in a tweet, like, you know, nothing. You can't have like a real conversation. It's so hard to get that stuff across, I feel.
Yeah, and likewise in DMs, I don't know how to read people. I
Yeah.
don't know. Am I bugging the hell out of you? Am I?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like 3 out of 4 conversations. I have this anxiety in there where I'm like, I think I'm being friendly, but I might just be creepy. Or what's the difference? Don't know. In person, and a lot of us are still going to struggle with this, reading the social cues and stuff. You have an opportunity to do that in a more readily available way.
Yeah.
That you don't have to wait for the text to be formulated in a specific fashion to express something clear to you. You know, there's the body language. There's somebody going like, yep, yep, and leading away. And that's the time to shut
Yeah.
up and just move about your business, right? You get a real clear indication of that. A lot of people still can't read that, and that's okay. It's something you can work on. But it's a big difference between the two is the networking in person and the networking via social media.
I think for me, it's because I've always had kind of like a focus on charity. That's also kind of the viewpoint I've tried to, you know, when approaching a broadcaster about potentially working together or something like that. It's kind of like, well, hey, why don't we do something with charity together? Because then, you know, this isn't about views. This isn't about increasing those kind of numbers. It's about let's do something positive together. Let's do something fun and help out some families and some kids. And funny thing enough, I was going to use this example even before I actually just noticed she's in chat. Nega, last TwitchCon, you know, I'll admit I was a little nervous talking to Nega because she's an awesome caster and whatnot. But I went up to her because there was a, you know, little Fallout, you know, 76 action going on and that kind of stuff. And I was like, hey, I would love to work with you, like with some charity stuff. And out of her kindness of her heart, she had like this extra backpack from like Fallout 76. I can talk about this now because it's way past that point in time. She's like, and it was like special edition. It's the canvas thing and everything else. She's like, here, just give this to charity. And she was like so kind and so nice. And it's just like those kind of conversations, I feel like definitely opened the door to potentially working together in an environment that isn't about the numbers or
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. It
Yeah.
allows you guys to focus on something outside of yourselves and see if then that, you know, that not just that business relationship, but that friendship is there.
Right. I think that charity is such an important and special way to connect with other broadcasters. That's really
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah. And so I feel like if you guys have a heart for that, there's so many out there. I mean, you got Extra Life, you got St. Jude, you got Stack Up, Operation Drop, so many things with Tiltify. So, I mean, if you have that kind of heart for charity, there's so many avenues out there, and then start to kind of build your network or friends around a common goal and see where it can go from there. And then that way you're doing something on this platform also for some positive good, and you can make some friends in a different light that's other than just about you and your channel, essentially.
For sure.
Completely green. How good.
I think like the last thing I'll say about networking is I think, in my opinion, visiting other streams, like actually going into the stream, is very meaningful. Like whenever I see, you know, another streamer, another partner go into my chat, I'm like, oh my God, like you're here. You're like, this is my home. Like you're with my community. I think it shows a lot. Like you're actually making an effort to like go say hi versus just like on Twitter scrolling and commenting on things. Not that it's like a bad thing, but I think it's like taking that extra step means a lot.
Right.
I think
you're actually spending. Sorry.
I think you need to diversify it. The attempts at connection more than just
sure.
like
I was going to say it's also just devoting more of your time, which I think to all of us, time is like our most valuable resource. So for someone to be like, no, I'm going to hang out and talk in your chat for 30 minutes. Like that is the nicest thing anyone could ever do.
For sure.
Like and like being like actually interact with other people in chat, like respect your community and value their time as much as yours, and giving up some of their own time. I think that is just like that's such a gift every time, I think.
Yeah.
So because we all know how much time we
an important counterbalance to it too, because you need to not feel guilty when you can't. I think that's one that every single one of us knows how that is. Like when you can't go in and spend a lot of time in your friends' channels and stuff, we tend to feel really guilty about that. But I think we need to work the perspective inside for that one to go. I'm giving what I can, and I'm happy that I'm doing that for my friends instead of the inverse of that when you can't do more.
The other nice thing about that is I have multiple of my streamer friends have texted me after stream to be like, thank you so much for coming by and hanging out today, and and that makes my heart want to grow 5 sizes and then explode and melt out my butt. You know what I mean? Because it's just like you were just excited to have me there as I was to be there and to support you, and I just feel there's so much love going around, and you know, that just feels so good. So I think it can be reciprocal as well in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So
sure.
So essentially, there's many different ways to go about this. Just don't do, once again, the DM Instagram.
Right. There's like it's a very natural type of thing. It's a very organic thing to do. It's not like these are the 5 steps towards making friends on Twitch, right? Like
everybody's different. Everybody's different.
Sure.
Hunter has been experiencing this with me, if I can talk about this, Hunter, but we have been talking outside of Twitch chat, and I don't respond to messages.
Oh, neither does he, so
she's horrible.
Do you hate me? Do you hate me? And I was like, no, I'm just an idiot, and I can't respond to things. So I'm like, that's the other thing. I'm so terrible at getting back to people where I'm like, no, I care about you. I want to talk to you. I also just want to be in fetal position for the next 5 days.
Yeah, like, see, now Mike is in the chat saying the same thing about me. This is why I can sympathize with you.
Right.
Mike will message me with something that's like really important, and it's like a life soul issue, and he's like, I really need your perspective. I get off the stream, 13-hour stream, click on the message, and I'm like, oh, I can't do that right now because that requires like an hour long of commitment. Tab out, and it's gone forever. A month later, I'm like, oh, wait. Oh, Mike had that thing. And then I
like,
go find it, and I'm like,
kidney 2 months ago.
I'm so sorry, Mike.
I died, Hunter.
I will say the biggest thing, because I used to have this problem all the freaking time. And so if I'm going to do like, let's say a 9-hour, a 9-hour stream, I'll do an 8.5-hour stream and then dedicate 30 minutes to my emails, to my DMs. I'll have Google Calendar up to put out reminders because that's how I grow the business. That's how you stay on top of all those things.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, I mean, beforehand, I was a community manager at Telltale Games. Like that was quite literally my job. And so to make sure that you understand that in order, if this is kind of like, this is what you want to grow, in order to build those relationships, those business relationships, it's literally having a section of time designated out for it.
Yeah. And, there are several people in chat who know this, as I mentioned it explicitly, to them for this purpose. One thing I've started doing this year is reaching out to one different person every day. And I have like a list of 6 questions that I start my day with. And answer one is like, who can I connect with? It's grammatically correct though in my actual writing. And I will DM them. And I'm just like, hey, what's up? What's your favorite food? Do you like pizza? Are you taking a vacation this year? What was your favorite class in middle school? And it's just like it's like whatever questions. Because the thing is, like, at some point, if my stream crashes and burns, what's not gonna matter is how much professional support I got from people.
MySpace survey.
Tori, what is it? Send people MySpace surveys.
Oh my God,
it builds relationships. Listen, Tori.
MySpace survey.
Oh my God, that takes me back.
Oh my God.
I should probably do a little market research and see actually how they formatted those.
You can do Hunter Space.
God.
You can do Hunter Space surveys.
Do you like pizza?
Hi, you like pizza?
Do you want to be friends on MySpace?
You like totals? I like totals.
Do you, and follow up is, do you want to like my stream? Do you want to have you followed yet?
Follow.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
So I feel like this almost segued into our next topic, which is until it went off when Ryan was saying about scheduling things, work-life balance, and how do you choose what things to dedicate your time with involving streaming?
My recommendation is have no friends, no family.
You hush.
No loved
Listen.
Yeah.
That's
Sounds
what
about
I recommend.
right.
If you really want to succeed on Twitch, you really can't divide your attention. So
I
Cut
okay,
it.
I gotta respectively disagree on that one. I will say you set the tone for your community, right? You set
Next,
the
I'm sorry, I
time.
didn't mean it.
You set the cadence. You set how long they're gonna watch. Everything else. And the idea that you're gonna stream for 24-hour streams nonstop all the time every week. You're on your one-way track to burnout. And this is something, been in the game industry for over 10 years as a game developer. I've worked my fair share of 36-hour shifts on The Walking Dead season 1. I was literally sleeping under my desk 2 hours and then wake up, and that's the only way that last episode got put out. You have to set your own boundaries. You have to set your own rules, or else this thing that you love is going to become a thing you don't love very much anymore.
Absolutely.
And you're going to get burnt out. And so your community will understand. And those people that don't stick around, that don't understand, those are people you don't want in your community.
You don't need them.
No. So I will say that because it's a very serious thing. You can have a lot of physical issues if you're not, putting out the time to stand up and stretch and take care of yourself. You need to make sure of that. And then for us who have family members, like I'm married, I have a wife. So that's why it's like, okay, this is my work schedule. I'm sticking to it. And outside of that, I gotta take care of my family. And so I think it's a big thing to make sure that's why everything that I have is such scheduled out on my phone and in Google Calendars, because I don't want to lose those relationships. I don't want, my wife to think that she's not
second fiddle
in my life.
to the career. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah.
I've started doing the same thing this year. A specifically structured and regimented. It's been a horrible Q1 because of the game releases, because it's part of my brand is to do fresh releases, 12-hour streams. But specifically and strictly regimented schedule for streams that have a lot more time that's not on stream and not working. And it's been going. It's been going. I've gotten a lot better, and I'm very proud of me.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of me, but it's been a hell of a couple of weeks here. But it is for the exact same reason. It's one of the things that I want to make sure is regimented before I actually have to do it because of family stuff, which is something that I want to bring into my life soon. And that is, I can't have the last year and 2 years ago's version of my streaming like 3,000 hours a year. That's not feasible. That's not a thing that, no matter how much my ambition is like up at the max, it's not going to do it.
What about in terms of the streaming time that you do have? Like, how do you allocate time for streaming, emails, social media, the other aspects of growing a channel?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I don't go to sleep until 4.
Well, actually, okay, here's a curious question. Vanna, like, are you a nighttime caster or a daytime caster?
I'm an afternoon caster. I'm usually 2 p.m. till 10 p.m. PST.
Okay.
So is that your morning?
Yeah, I wake up at like 11.
Gotcha.
But then I'm up till 3 or 4 working on stuff after stream. But
And then what about you, Hunter? What is your dedicated times normally?
For years, I have been a ridiculous night owl, and throughout my entire painting career, I could have whatever schedule I wanted, and it was perfect for me. It was so late night, and I loved it. This year, I'm waking up at 9 to 10 a.m. Massive change for me, and my fixed streaming schedule is now 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. 5 days a week. I've never done that before. Not once.
Yeah, I also started 5 days a week.
Did
2019.
you?
A lot of people have been doing that.
6, yeah.
Wow.
I think that's so important though, because it's like all these, the typical work day being 5 days a week, 9 to 5s. Like, why would we work more than that? There's a reason it's like that, is so people don't like die, or so they don't get totally burned out. Like, that time to relax and recharge. And what we're doing is absolutely hard, and it absolutely is draining in so many different ways. It's like emotionally draining, it's energy draining, it can be physically draining, which sounds kind of insane, but it really can, especially if you have any sort of like mental health things going on. Like, I have anxiety, I go on and off depression, so it's just like, if you're going through like a bout of that, it can be the hardest thing in the world. So it's like, the least you can do for yourself is give yourself a gosh darn weekend, just something. And I
need to have a weekend.
Yeah.
People see the on-screen time too, and a lot of us are worried about the perception from our cohorts as well as from the community when your on-screen time isn't your only work time. Yeah. And all of us know that in different ways. Like, Loco and I are working on this in 1,000 different ways when we're not streaming. I'm doing all these events and we're planning stuff out constantly and working with
answering emails.
And there's just tons of stuff that is going on when I'm not on camera. My on camera time is like, it's like 50% of right now. It's like 50% of the time that I'm spending working on like actually doing work. So having a smaller amount of time with that opens up my ability to create opportunities for me to work like a regular person later this year. Yeah. And I can't do that when it's all on all the time. Yeah. Because I have no outside of stream time to work on any of that stuff, to build the rest of my life as well as the rest of my brand, both those things in tandem.
Yeah. Sure. Typically for me, I wake up about 6:30 in the morning, get ready for the stream. 30 minutes beforehand is dedicated, because as you know, Hunter, I like doing those gifts and all that kind of stuff before I go live. And so it's I have programs on my cell phone. I'm doing all of that stuff on. So
You've got
it's
a
less
streamline
time
now,
on the-
fortunately, which is nice. You can it's a little
Yeah,
faster than when you started.
Yep. And so, doing that. And then, when I'm done, even though I go offline at 5 p.m., it's known that the next 30 minutes to 45 minutes, it is all dedicated to answering emails, checking all that kind of stuff. And then I am now not working and I'm offline and all that kind of stuff. But it's if you're going to do social media, if you're going to do all that kind of stuff, you need to have it planned out. And I would even put out there, if you can, try to move away from just grabbing random GIFs off Google Images and, crafting something that's more towards your brand. Because trust me, people will, like, you want to get retweets. People are more often going to retweet something out that is you in a GIF or something that's about the game, like a company, a game developer company. Here's a little inside. A game developer company is going to retweet something that looks like had a little bit of love and care towards the product that you're going to play. So they don't mind a little bit of you branding in that GIF or that video you create, but they want to see that it's not just some random GIF you pulled off of Google, showcasing their game. And you're like, hey, I'm going to play this. Come watch. So, because that's something as somebody who would be in charge of their social medias, that's something I would look forward to look like a little bit of love and care was put into that tweet. Man, I'm going to hit it with the retweet because I love what you did. So start thinking about a little bit more of presence on social media and that time dedicated therein, or you can hire somebody. Like I know a lot of people do. They hire, like Hunter.
I've got somebody to craft
person.
images for the events.
Yeah,
Beer Gnome, and another person who just watches the stream and creates GIFs from what stupid stuff that I do, or like really fantastic plays and stuff, and pays that. But I mean, that's obviously another level because that requires an economic investment into those. And there are a couple of things like what you do to craft it yourself, and it can be done in a way that I think is relatively, I mean, it's cohesive, creates interest, and can be streamlined and fluid, like how quickly you're able to do it yourself. And one of the things that I've straight ripped off of Vana is after stream going through clips, and my mods also do this, going through clips, and I will grab a clip that I think is indicative or representative of the stream for the day, and I put it in my tweet that's like hey, today was a great day. Boom, there's the thing. I already did the work to create the stream, and now here's content coming out of the stream, and then I put that into the tweet as a little clip. I think it's been so great.
Yeah, I think allocating time to doing like stream related work, for me it's been about like where my natural window of inspiration is. So like I used to start streaming at noon and I went till 7, and I found that by starting late I had less energy, and by ending late I was getting tired towards less hours. So I started earlier and I ended earlier, and that works out because I wake up really early, and I usually work before my stream, and that's when I'm like feeling refreshed. I like check my messages. It's basically become routine now, and it often makes me late for the stream. And then like I'm streaming during like my peak energy after I eat something, and then at night I relax for a couple hours and then come back a little bit later and do work. So I think finding like where you naturally like are like, okay, this is like I feel motivated to like work on emails and do social media and like plan things out for the stream. Like try to craft your window towards like, this is when I have the most energy for streaming, this is when I actually feel like doing things. Because like I
think it's very important.
For me, if I started streaming right when I woke up, like I'd be so tired in the afternoon. I don't know if I'd ever get any work done at night. Like I get far less done at night than like before the stream when the days do. So also in terms of like taking like one day off, a problem I had, or I still have, is with taking one day off is I would spend that day working and catching up on things.
Exactly.
So like with 2 days off, like you have a day where you just reset, and then I come back the next day and I'm like, okay, I can spend this day doing work now because I actually took a break.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's 100% what it is, which is why I think it's important to take those days off in a row too.
Yeah.
So you can get a good chunk in there before you have to hit the ground running again.
Yep.
100%. And
by the way, if anybody out there is curious, Video Leap is the program I use on my cell phone. If you want the ability to kind of edit that stuff, create GIFs, whatever you want to do.
I think it's iOS, right?
I don't know if it's just on Android. I have an iPhone, but somebody out there can check on their Android. But
I believe it's not, because I think when you were walking me through it when we were at lunch, I didn't find it anywhere, and I was like, no.
Oh damn! All right. So I'm sorry. I guess iPhone users, you gotta there's an app for you, but Video Leap makes things a little
it's good.
Easier. Leap.
It seems to be really cool.
L-E-A-P, not leak, but leap. There you go.
Video Leak is a very different site.
That's a very
I was
Please
gonna
don't go there.
say.
Please don't go there. It'll be on FBI watch list or something.
Vanna knows. She's like,
I'm on so many lists.
Oh, Dee Dee says it's on Android, Hunter.
It is? Okay.
Yeah, Dee Dee says it is on Android.
My dreams have come true. Thanks, Santa.
we have a question from Damon Fair. Damon Fair?
Demon Fire.
Demon Fire. Okay, I butchered that. I'm sorry. How do you all start getting your channels out there? Was it mostly luck with people finding your stream?
Yeah, answer that, Hunter, because you did an amazing job. Like, let's just get that right. You did a really professional job getting it out there. So.
Well, but that's the thing, was it was a professional job because my first stream was a career stream. I started streaming as a career streamer. I before my first stream, I decided this is what I was going to do now. And so like the structure well, right. It's like, this was my career move. Like I applied for the job and this is the job that I want. So this is what right. So it's very different how that worked. But it was like I did research on what games were the best to start with and why, what fit for me, and where that was going to be valuable. So I made a choice, made a selection. I watched people who was sort of did some of this stuff. Found out why it mattered. That was game selection. We had a stream about that recently. That plays a very big role. And picking the right game at the right time. And some games are timeless in that regard and can be very valuable for that. And like, you know, having branding, I didn't have like a lot of professional imagery or anything early, but I had a brand identity. I knew what it was that I wanted to do and be. And a lot of that was really easy for me too, but you should spend some time doing it, right? Because my name is Hunter Wild, and it's like I've always had that. It makes it really effortless and easy to have like a wilderness kind of a theme. But you should spend some time doing that, so you have that brand identity. Then you can pick and pull from all over the place, and it's consistent. That consistency makes such a critical difference in people's perception of you. I don't even know what the question was anymore. I feel like I'm just doing stuff. It's just flowing forth.
How did your channel grow? How did you get it to grow?
Growing.
Growing.
Consistent streaming, brand identity, vision, and mission. I always go back to vision and mission stuff.
Are you just yelling buzzwords?
Yes, synergy.
It's so visceral.
Brand.
Yeah,
Synergy.
exactly.
Gatorade.
Well,
gotta keep those
electrolytes
up. I almost said endorphins.
Well, that too. Dynamic, synergistic vision. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that thing.
But it really is true, because it keeps your head in the game. Like if you know what it is that you're trying to achieve, you hit roadblocks, or you don't have anybody coming in this week. If you know what your end game is and you're shooting for that, you're like, oh, that sucks. But that's okay, because next week I'm going to be doing more of the thing that I want to do to get me to that final point. This week was terrible. It was a dumpster fire. It was garbage. Next week may also be, but I've got a plan. I've got goals. I've got things I'm going to check off for stuff that I want to do and that I want to achieve. And that was something that I started with, I think, because of that career mentality. Was like, I know things that have to be done in order to make this work professionally. And I think that can also be true for hobby stuff. I take my hobbies really seriously as well, and I'm like, I don't want to mess around with it. Like I want it to be good. I want it to be beautiful and neat, even if it's completely private.
That's why Hunter is top tier fidget spinner. 'Cause he takes his hobbies real seriously.
Show us, Hunter. Let's go. What was that?
I put it on my
think he was-
nose. Couldn't you
yeah,
see?
he's spinning on his nose.
Okay.
Perfect.
I have no imagination, so I was waiting for the fidget spinner to show up.
No, that was the pro strats right
Yeah,
there.
I thought you were just falling over.
Oh, well, that happens a lot.
I thought you were like your body was fidget spinning.
That's gonna be my next career move.
The
You
next career move,
are. Be one
professional
with the
body
fidget spinner.
body fidget spinner.
Oh no! Don't
You
Google
just start
that either.
spinning on things.
Yeah, don't Google that either. I did see somebody asked 8 hours ago whether or not you could start as a hobby as opposed to a career. I think everybody should start as a hobby as opposed to a career, and so that ties into the same thing we were just talking about.
That's
Hobby first is
definitely
better.
what I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was
absolutely.
it was almost less of a hobby and more of like a group therapy or something.
That's the way that you were talking about that,
Yeah.
which honestly sounded really cool.
I mean, you know, it was just a social thing for a really long time, which led to a lot of subpar, regrettable content. But you know, that's not on the internet anymore, or at least excessively. So,
And honestly,
it's
some of that
okay.
stuff could be on brand, right? And that could be like its own kind of comical meme generating,
Right.
community
No,
building
yeah.
stuff.
And
too.
we were talking about this in my channel the other day. It's not like something I regret because I had to make all these. I had to do it in this way to get to where I am now, and I
Right.
had to fall in love with streaming for the reasons I did to have the very like distinct passion I have for it now.
Sure.
And so I don't like regret that part of my career. That wasn't career, but experience on Twitch, because I had fun and I learned what I liked about the platform, and I learned what I didn't like about the platform, and I learned what I liked about me as a broadcaster, and what I liked about my content and what I didn't like about my content. And since I was doing it so casually, that was like years of me sort of parsing that and figuring it out, and at a couple hours at a time. So I think if someone like from the beginning was like, okay, it's a hobby right now, it's part-time right now, but I would like to go full-time at some point, which is not something I ever considered happening for me, so I didn't ever think about it in that context. I think that could happen in a much more succinct period where
You get so much more playroom, right?
right.
Experimentation and
So many more mistakes were made, and
and they're more easily forgiven. You make some of those mistakes like when you're in the middle of like the best stream ever, and you've got like 300 people or whatever, like on a fluke, on a whim that just everything aligned, and you've just made a crippling mistake. You make that mistake when it's like hobby time. It's like, dang,
Right.
moving on.
I got all my box wine streams out of the way, and I don't need to do them anymore.
Yeah.
More. Gone.
Yeah.
Out of here.
So this kind of ties into like what someone else is asking actually. Average Dad asks, should a streamer starting out really concentrate on wait, sorry, I'm like parsing this question, so like trying to figure out how to word it. Basically figuring out what makes your stream unique. Should you know from the start what that is, or let that form naturally?
I gotta tell you, unique is overrated. 3 million broadcasters on Twitch. Who's unique?
I think there's a difference between being unique and standing out, though. Like you don't have to be the only one, but I think you have to do things that set you apart from the basic like person playing games.
Well, I think you have to have something that accords with the community that you want, the types of people that you want to bring in. There is a matter of like visibility, and what is it that's going to make you visible, and a lot of that can be a sense of uniqueness, even if it's not actually unique at all. But your own version of a thing, right? If that's sort of what we're talking about with that one, I'm totally on board. But I do feel like it in conversations about uniqueness, oftentimes I sort of almost always come back to that same idea of we beat ourselves up over not being unique, when I think that that particular concept of it is faulty in the first place. So we end up beating ourselves up for the wrong reasons.
I'd feel like it's just basically showcasing your personality, right? You mean you are unique.
Yeah.
There's only one you.
Right.
But it's
That's
how
what
do
you think.
How do you get that across?
Have you ever heard of doppelgangers,
twin.
Ryan? Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you express
I do
that,
go by
Ryan?
Highlander rules. So if I do meet somebody who is like me, I no. But I think it's just kind of how do you convey your personality on your channel, in your stream. And I think also, I mean, for anybody here, if you look at the tabs underneath our stream, you know, the artwork when we first started out to where we are now, things will also progress because you will see things as you're watching other broadcasters, especially. I noticed, like, I would see things other broadcasters do, and I'm like, ooh, I like that. And how can I take that and make that my own to convey my own personality with that?
Yes.
And the reason, like, so me, I have an intro that plays at the start of every stream. It's like this little 2-minute video, kind of getting people pumped up and so they can see what I'm about. I got that idea from Future Man Gaming. Future Man Gaming always kind of started with this amazing intro.
Yes.
Of him like running around his city and showcasing him going
All through
back
New
in
York.
time. Yeah, it was really strange. It was really cool. And I was like, that's amazing. Yes, I that resonates with me. I love that idea. Now, how can I take that and make it my own? And I think that's going to be the thing, is showcasing your personality. You're going to see things that other broadcasters are doing that you're like, oh, holy crap, that's an amazing idea. Now, how do you turn around that and make it yours? Make it, you know, all about your personality, I think is going to be the big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just to piggyback on what you're saying, Ryan, because I 100% agree with all of that, is just really being self-reflective and going, what do I like about me? What do I think is special about me? Because whatever Hunter says, everyone is a different person. Okay, we're all, even though, you know, some of us have similar interests or play the same games or even, you know, have similar styles of how we stream, we're still uniquely us. But you really need to determine yourself what you enjoy about yourself and what you want to sort of take out of you and expand upon and extrapolate on and just use to create your branding around and use to create the direction of the content you're going to make. And if you have like an on-screen persona or something, you know, what you want to highlight about that sort of character that you have. But
Absolutely.
But yeah, I come from a comedy background, so that's always been really important to me. I did comedy for 10 years before I went full-time streaming. So it's like, that's always been such a crucial thing for me. Is like, you know, we've got to be joking, we've got to be laughing. Like, I've got to play games that I can like razz on and things like that. That's always has to be something for me, because it's something that's so important to me. And it's like, that if I don't do that, there's a void inside of my body that aches, you know? So it's like, that's always been a focus for me. And then community too, because it's like, I started streaming because I felt really lonely and I wanted to be around people that cared about the same things I cared about. And I wanted them to feel welcome in the space that I was making for myself so I could feel better, but also so the people that were helping me to feel welcome and helping me feel secure in who I am and what I was passionate about, I want them to be able to feel that way too. So those are like two things that have always been the cornerstones of my channel. And those are two really big, for me, really big, important parts of myself that I've sort of just pulled out and generated into all these other bits that are involved in my content, in how I carry myself and stream, to my graphics and things like that. Like all my visual branding is based on my tattoo. Like, you know, awesome. So it's just taking pieces of yourself and highlighting them, you know. So.
I do think that one is super critical. Like that particular, like, so part of the like uniqueness kind of issue, I think, is that it's you are making a place that is its own, has its own identity, right? So like you starting your stream was like sort of this therapeutic thing for you, and had this particular performed this particular role, and inviting other people to come in and share that, whatever that is for a particular broadcaster, whatever that thing is, that community identity, it is your own most thing. And when they're coming in and sharing that too, it is also their own most thing. And that that thing is very particular.
Right.
And I think that's if that can't be traded out, you've nailed it.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to extrapolate like that, like, yeah, there can be tons and tons of communities that are like humor focused.
Sure.
So many people have such distinct types of humor, and no one's going to play Skyrim the exact same way and make the same weird jokes about, you know, this, that, and the other. It's like, okay, you can both be community focused and or comedy focused. Maybe that's not unique, but the way that you're coming at it is going to be, you know, as long as you're not copying somebody, I guess, then it
Yeah,
probably won't
that
be.
sounds like that's a horrible idea.
I watched this person play Skyrim, so I'm gonna play the exact same way and make all the same jokes. And
I'm sure that
doesn't work out very well.
No.
Turns out.
But yeah.
I think crap, I had it. I'm gonna lose it. Okay, got it. So in terms of like finding out like later on versus starting out with like knowing what you want to accentuate, like I think that just it depends on how much you know yourself and how much like what exactly you want to bring to the table. Like you might change over the course of like the 3 years that you've been streaming. Like I know I've changed a lot and my channel's changed, and the jokes that we do or the memes, like I used to have Grumpy Cat was a big thing in my stream.
Yeah.
Now he's retired, so like things will change, and you don't have to like be like, okay, this is how the channel is. We can't change it. It's a very fluid thing, and you should honestly always be like evolving your stream and mixing things up and
Right.
adding new things to your stream.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely changing things up where you can and evolving. Because I mean, you're not the same person you were, you know, a year ago. So
Right.
Thank
you know,
God.
the channel should reflect that, you know,
Yeah.
the change. And I don't know, it creates new content. It's exciting to watch, and you know, adding new and fun things. So
Right.
it's a win-win.
Be a little critical of yourself. Always be asking what could I be doing differently? What could I be doing better? What could I improve on? And be able to look at yourself unbiasedly at times, I guess, because I think, you know, looking back, there's a lot of things where I'm like, why did I think that was fun or cool? You know, like I wish like in that moment, either I had the wherewithal to be like, stop, or somebody else was like, stop. You know? So I think it's good to either, you can ask. I didn't really have anybody to ask when I was doing it for the first few years, but you know, stuff like this, Streamersquare is a great place to be like, you know, is drinking a whole box of wine in a stream, is that a good idea? No, it's not a good idea. Oh, great, thank you. I'm so glad we had this talk. You know,
I
that's
wish somebody would have told me yesterday.
that's a silly example, but I think you can apply that to many things. It's like, oh, it's how I'm carrying this, or how am I putting out the content, or this, that, and the other. Is that what I want for myself, for my brand, for my community? And really think about the community that you're cultivating, and how toxic you're allowing it to be or encouraging it to be based on how you're running things. So
Oh, and be okay with whenever you do screw up, because you're gonna screw up, that your chat is going to clip it, remember it, quote it, and it soon will become a thing, part of your everyday stream. Because now, yeah, you screwed up live on camera, and God forbid if anyone ever does that. So just be okay, accept it, and know that everything's gonna be all right.
That is how memes are born.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true.
Oh God.
Before you even said that, my chat was already giving me a hard time about something, like about a certain emote that I don't like. Does not end.
And this is why we love our communities.
Yeah,
No.
that's why.
Yeah, that's.
That's
Oh,
why.
wow. Okay, Loco, I see what you're talking about. That was the time you looked right at the camera. I'm like, whoa. Okay.
You
Did that
see?
shake you?
Yep. All right.
We have kind of a different question from Tanak, who asks, what would you like to see Twitch implement to help combat multiple accounts specifically made to troll a streamer? Be it an email verification system, or a better system to IP ban multiple accounts, or something else. And I will add to that, you know, what are some tips to help combat trolls?
I actually just recently went through this a month ago. That it had me. Are any of you guys familiar with JDub, who work over at Twitch?
Mm-mm.
Maybe you guys. He's a good community guy. I actually reached out to him like, I'm going through something I've never gone through before. It was my first time, which I guess is a good thing after almost doing this for 4 years.
Yeah.
But this dude just would not get the you know, the message with all the bans going to multiple accounts. He kept on coming back, and without going into too great a detail, just following with really hateful kind of names in there and all this other kind of stuff. And for the first time ever, I had to go into my settings on Twitch. I had to change certain aspects of that. I had to change certain aspects actually on Streamlabs itself when it comes to alerts, making sure that no alerts are popping up with hosts or follows that have bad words in it or anything of such. And then you can also add to that list. And then also just making sure two-step verification is on for a lot of different stuff as well. Just it's a thing. It sucks. I don't think any of us here can understand why some people get it in their heads that this is fun and it's or hilarious, or I don't know. I've never gotten that mindset, but yeah, for me it was. So you are going to have to, unfortunately, it only takes one, right? So you will have to lose out on maybe certain things that will pop up. Like my chat used to be able to, lay down some F-bombs or whatever in an alert. But because of this guy, and so having to change my alerts, the bot will no longer read those alerts when they pop up because I had to change things. So it's just best to be aware. But like I said, it took me 4 years almost to come across something like this. So, I mean, that's my experience. What about you guys?
I would say like there's a lot of great tools to help make it annoying for trolls. Like the email verification system is a thing. You can go to your channel settings. Go to your channel settings. There's a way to turn that on so that only people with a verified email can talk. Now, one of my grievances is there's no limit to how many accounts you can make per email. So they just keep, a troll can just register to the same email address, make hundreds of accounts. It's very easy. I don't know why it's a thing, because most sites you have one email address, you have one account.
It's usually super annoying too, because like I forgot, like something has happened, and I try and use the same email again like 8 years later, and it's like, no, this exists. I'm like, oh no, now I have to go through the process.
Yeah. I think like just having something like that where it's like you have to have a unique email address that's not already registered, and you have to verify that email address with your Twitch account. Like that just adds like extra steps that makes it just so much more annoying to make more accounts. I think just something super subtle like that would be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I remember also Twitch actually got back to me and they're like, yeah, we banned his IP, but he came back because anybody that knows anything when it comes to IPs can also just regenerate and get a new IP. So it's
the problem is that there are annoying. A lot of workarounds. Yeah. There's a lot of workarounds out there, and I just bar none. It's that same thing. What rings true is what my mom used to say: is just don't give those bullies any attention. Just don't do it. And so it is one of those kind of things that literally, like, I had mod chat open on my Discord. I talked to my mods. Now, because of the extra tools they've added, they can leave notes now in there saying why this person such and such, and you can just click on the person's name and report them and all that kind of stuff. So use the tools that Twitch has there, and just know eventually, hopefully, they're just going to get bored of because they're having to do a lot more work when you get all these things set up than you are. So, yeah, it's a battle of wills almost to that point, but I do, as Loco said, I hope they can change it to where it's like, one email, one account, and that kind of stuff. But you just have to go through the rigmarole, unfortunately.
I do think a nice tool too is the auto mod.
Yes.
It adds particular words to it, and God, I have experienced a lot of this. I think that was my first episode with you. Talked about e-bullying. So I've experienced a lot of this, and oh my God, across the board, they are so uncreative, so not creative, so predictable. Like if they're creating new accounts, the accounts have the similar word use in the title, or they're coming in and saying the same things in chat. So it's really easy after like the second time to be like, oh no, okay, I see what your gimmick is here, and I'm gonna add the gimmick to the auto mod. And then their messages are never even getting into the chat. They're getting caught by the auto mod every time. And then they get bored and they go away. But predictably, every time we've had like a really serious, like someone recreating accounts and spamming, which has happened quite a few times in the past 4.5 years, they always have the same shit to say, and it's very easy to pick some keywords and be like, well, no one else is friggin' talking about this, so we can just go ahead and get rid of that. But the other thing I'll say about it is, I know y'all are saying there is workaround for IPs, but I feel like a lot of trolls are also idiots. So I know some of them probably know the workaround, but there's also a good chance they don't. So what I usually do is, my mods are really good about it, but sometimes I just ask my community, where I'm just like, okay, if we could all just take a second, like I'm like really sweet about it. I'm like, hey, do you guys mind if we just take a break, just take a couple minutes, and let's all report this account. Here are the other names that they've used in the chat. If you want to go ahead and add those to the comments, because the more reports that get sent in on a single account, the more likely Twitch is to look at that and actually perform an IP ban. Whereas like normally, if you're just waiting for you to do it one at a time, or you do it here and someone else does it over at a different channel and someone else does it, it might take forever or not happen. But if you just get like your mods and 20 people in your community to all do it at one time, then it's this big blip on Twitch's radar. It's like, wait, who the hell is this? And what are they doing?
Yep.
But yeah, otherwise I don't like to call attention to them. But if it seems like really problematic and really toxic, and I just like, in my mind, I'm like, I just don't want this person to be able to be on Twitch because they're the worst, then I'll just very sweetly ask my community to help out with the IP ban.
Another thing is, if this is happening very frequently over the course of like an hour or a night or something, use follower mode. Like, just make it something simple, like a 10-minute follower mode or something.
It'll go away.
Like, you're honestly just trying to make it as annoying for them to try to get a message through. And if they have to, every time they make an account, follow and wait 10 minutes to say something that gets caught by automod anyways and never gets seen, but the mods ban them because they get to see it, like, that can't be fun for anybody. Except you, because you know what's happening.
They want that initial shock reaction from you, so that's another easy way, I guess, to also kill it right there.
For sure. So guys, unfortunately we are out of time. I know we didn't get to all the questions. I know we have to do these like more often, because every time we do them, I'm like, there's so many awesome questions to talk about. But that is unfortunately gonna do it for us today. We are gonna do some shout outs. Ryan, Vanna, thank you guys for joining us. If you guys wanna let us know where we can find you, what you're playing, and we'll link up your stuff.
Vanna, you wanna go first?
Sure. I'm Vanna. I'm at twitch.tv/Vanna, where I'm streaming 5 days a week. And that is usually every day except for Wednesday and Thursday. I'm usually live 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. PST. I play a wide variety of games, a lot of horror games, survival horror, RPGs, and then we do a lot of community days, multiplayers, and stuff like that. So. And, and I play tabletop RPGs over at Saving Throw Show, which is twitch.tv/Saving Throw Show. So if you're into that sort of thing, it's a great time over there. All sorts of systems that we work on over there. And then you can see me popping up at Geek and Sundry every now and then, just on any old show. Who knows where I'll be next? But you can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Havanarama, HAVANARAMA, to keep up to date on those extra biddies. But thanks for having me, y'all.
Our pleasure.
For myself, I stream also Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time here in California, so time zone's very important. Do a wide range of variety gaming, whether it is story-focused games, having fun with the latest, or maybe some indie titles you have never heard of before that could deserve some extra love. And then do also a lot of creative streams. Been actually commissioned open now to help out fellow broadcasters with emotes and social media announcements and all this other kind of fun stuff through video work. But this week is going to be a bit different, as I will be in Florida for Extra Life. I will be show hosting their panels and whatnot. So for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'll be there. So I'm going to be gone, but doing random streams on my own stuff. But I'll be on the front page of Twitch on Extra Life's own channel. So make sure to check out there. And if you have a couple bucks to help out some kids, some families, make sure to donate and help out some people. But on that, the following week we'll be right back to it. And also I'm gonna be back into workout streams. I still have 110 pounds to lose by TwitchCon. 2019, and so I'll be doing Just Dance, Beat Saber,
Yes.
a lot of different things. I have my Fitbit, and currently we're the only channel, and I'll be rolling this out to other people. You sign up, and you tie your Twitch account to this Merits account. You'll actually get shouted out on the stream for getting 5,000 steps or more, helping to promote.
Oh yeah, that's
physical health.
awesome.
It's such a
Physical
cool
health.
system. He was describing it to me. He was describing it to me a little while back. You've got to hear it. It's so neat.
Thank you, man. So anyway, that's me. So I'll just turn it over to our amazing hosts.
Hunter, go for it.
Sorry, I had to make my lips a little prettier.
Popcorn. You got a popcorn
Perk
for
him
us?
up, Hunter.
Yeah, come on.
Gotta gloss
Get
it
nice
up a
and
little
perky.
bit.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Videoleaks.com. Videoleaks.com.
I'm the Hunter Wild. It's a pleasure to have such wonderful people on the show today. It has been a riot. It has been entertaining. It's been informative. My brain is I think it's like 3/4 mush at this point after doing so many Division 2 and Devil May Cry 5, and then coming up is Sekiro. I've been doing so many 12-hour streams. It's been crazy. My schedule is 5 days a week, other than launch events, where you can find me at twitch.tv/thehunterwild, 5 to 11 p.m. Pacific, 5 days a week, unless there's a new game coming out, and apparently that is the only thing that is happening in the world right now. Sekiro is starting on Friday. I'm so excited for it. Also, co-owner of Streamersquare. I could not be more excited to bring all of this great content to so many people all the time. Thanks, Loco, for gathering this show together today in my absence with so much division going on and carrying me to victory.
I think I've heard 4 words from Hunter all week. Like
Been
my brain
miserable.
is mush. Like that was it. Okay, I gotcha. But yeah, I'm Loco. You can find me twitch.tv/LOWCO, twitter.com/Loco2525. I am currently playing Division and Devil May Cry, and I love both of them. And Apex is getting a new season pass now, and I just don't know what to do with myself. But I play pretty much everything here on Twitch, 5 to 6 to 7 days a week, depending on what's happening. Somewhere around there. And if you guys enjoy this content, you guys can actually listen to it via Anchor or whatever podcasting platform you enjoy. We now have all the episodes up on the podcast sphere. So definitely search the stream scene on whatever podcasting platform that you use, and you can listen to it on the go, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Other than that, you can find us on everything, Streamersquare, everything, YouTube, website, Twitter, all that good stuff. We have a Discord, so if you guys, we didn't answer your question, come to the Discord, because there are streamers that will help you. So you can ask questions, you can get answers, and it's a really helpful resource. And last but not least, if you guys enjoy this content and you want to subscribe, but you see we don't have a sub button, you can check us out on Patreon and sub for $5 a month to get really, really, really cool stuff. We have a lot of behind the scenes videos like today, which was interesting. And
Oh, you're gonna want this episode. Trust me. Trust me.
Check it out on Patreon. $5 a month. You get access to the behind the scenes videos. We also have coaching, Q&A sessions, and much, much more. So check it out there if you guys like what we're doing and want us to do more stuff. So that is gonna do it for us. Thank you guys for watching. And we have next week. Yes, Hunter.
Oh, okay.
Got this.
Next week, we originally had this scheduled out for this week, but we're into some schedule conflicts. Next week, we are doing a show on voice acting, which also ties into other industry jobs. So if you are looking at streaming and potentially moving out into other careers within the broader kind of industry, we're talking about that a little bit, but specifically voice acting as a career path. This is something that you get to practice all the time. I've been doing a lot more of it myself. I was talking about that behind the scenes. As streamers, you pick up, you start running with a voice, you maybe get a little bit more interested in this. Is there something that you can do with it? Is there a way that you can actually get this into a game, into a trailer somewhere? Yes. And we'll have the answers for you next week, Monday. God, why am I losing my own schedule? What time is it, Logo?
5 p.m. Eastern time, 2 p.m. Pacific.
That's the one with actual streamers who also are voice actors at the same time. Tune in for that one.
This is why there's 2 of us to do the show.
Yes,
by the way.
This is it.
It's a good team up. It's nice.
Thank you, and thank you guys for joining us. The 2 of you on the show, it's been immaculate and miraculous and beautiful, and everybody out there watching today, appreciate the hell out of you.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We're gonna go talk about super secret stuff behind the scenes that you can only get on Patreon. Have a good week.